Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Vasyadya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktarinda ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Chama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Shri Navadvip Mayapur ki Jai, Ganga Maya Munamai ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Tulasi Maharani ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktarinda ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitya Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Srinavadi Paschachade Shitarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are looking at the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gītā, the opulence of the Absolute Truth. So Krishna's opulences are here described. Krishna is unlimited opulent. Nobody can know all the opulences of the Lord. Even Krishna himself, he cannot fully understand his opulences, because his opulences are constantly expanding and expanding. So here that is a very beautiful verse, the 10th chapter, text 10. Tesham sattadda yuktanam vachatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Translation. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this verse the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the 2nd chapter the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things, and then he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and Yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and take fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is a process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this, therefore the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculation to understand Krishna, is acting in Jnana Yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. which is a complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So qualification is that the person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. Srila Bhagavad Gītā, what a beautiful purport. Let's read that translation again. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Amagyanaधिmirandasya Gananchana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadandikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuddhapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrachatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Dam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. There are a few significant words in the verse which Lord Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. To those who are constantly devoted. That's the first word. Constantly devoted is one thing. But constantly devoted, what does that mean? Constantly devoted means 24/7. Constantly devoted. Not on and off. And not when I have some time, I'm devoted to Krishna. And otherwise I'm devoted to so many other things. And if it feels like, if I feel like, then I'm devoted to Krishna. And other times I'm devoted to so many other things. When I have some time, when I spare time, when everything else, all my devotional activities else, material devotional activities, devoted to so many things in relation to this world. When all they are done, and they're actually never done, then I devote myself to Krishna. And there's a beautiful story of Narada Muni being in a conversation with Krishna. And Narada Muni was saying, why? Maybe Krishna, you make it too hard that people come to you. And Krishna says, no, that's not the reason. People don't want. Like tonight, you see? Only you are here, Vijay, so far. Why are not 100 others here? Because they are distracted. They're devoted to so many other things. They don't see the necessity of hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Patasevanam, Achanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. These are the limbs of bhakti. It's explained. One can perform all of them like Maharaj Ambarish, or one can perform some of them, at least one of them, and one will reach perfection through such devotional service, like Shravanam, hearing. Parikshit Maharaj, he attained perfection just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Shukadev Goswami. Just by that hearing process, he attained perfection. And Shukadev Goswami, just by speaking Kirtanam, and Prahlad Maharaj by Vishnu Smaranam, remembering. He was always remembering Krishna, Prahlad, never forgetting him. Of course, Prahlad has heard the Bhagavatam in the womb of his mother. There's a story, a backstory. The demigods and the demons were fighting. They're always fighting, even today. So many demonic elements. Always a fight between good and evil, between demons and devotees. And then Hiranyakashipu, who receives the benediction from Lord Brahma. Nobody can kill you, not at day, not at night, not outside of the house, not in the house, not by any weapon, not by animal. So many things. So he was terrorizing the universe. He was the most powerful demon. He ruled even over the heavenly planets. He sat on the throne of Indra in Indraloka. So powerful he was. The most powerful being in the entire universe. And while Hiranyakashipu was away, the demigods attacked and kidnapped his wife and brought her, ready to take her away. Actually, they were ready to kill her because they knew she was pregnant and there was a child, a son in her womb. And they thought, well, if Hiranyakashipu is such a great demon, certainly it's a child in the womb. There will be even a greater demon. And then Narada Muni intercepted and said, no, no, don't do that. Actually, that child in the womb of that lady, he is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Oh, the demigods couldn't understand. They said, no, he's a great devotee. So let her go with me to my ashram and carry out her pregnancy. And the demigods, respecting Narada Muni, of course, they stopped their plan to kill her. Then Narada Muni, he was speaking, not reading, he was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Prahlad's mother, and he was in the womb, in the late stages of pregnancy. And Prahlad heard the words from the pure devotee Narada Muni in the womb. The child in the womb can perceive. I mean, hear. You can see, but hear. Therefore, devotee families, when the wife is pregnant, devotees from the 7 months onwards, they're reading Srimad Bhagavatam to the mother. The last 2 months, The child is in an unconscious state in the early days of the pregnancy, but then in the 7 months onward, the child is very alert, very conscious of his situation in the womb. And the child in the womb is praying, please, my Lord, deliver me from this cage, from this sticky, hot womb. And Lord Chaitanya describes to his mother, Sachi Devi, the situation of the child in the womb. Dark, cramped condition. And if the mother is eating anything a little spicy, the delicate body of the child will suffer. Also bitten by worms. There are many. There are worms in the body, and there's all kind of creatures and bacteria and amoeba and all kind of other living entities in our bodies. So the delicate body of the child is bitten by worms, it's explained. So then the child is praying to the Lord, please deliver me from this horrible, horrible situation. Sometimes people romanticize, oh, it's a child in the womb, it's just so nicely protected and loved, and that may be as it is, but the child in the womb is in a very precarious situation. Dark, can only hear some sounds later on in this consciousness expansion. So Prahlad heard the Bhagavatam. So that therefore Prahlad is known for Vishnu Smaranam, remembering Vishnu. If we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, if we hear about Krishna in the womb, then we have a very, very good start in life. So became a great devotee, Prahlad. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. So these are the devotional processes, hearing, chanting, remembering, very, very important. They will help us to develop our Krishna consciousness. So therefore, Lord Krishna is saying here, those who are constantly devoted. When Prahlad Maharaj, when the teachers, Sanda and Amarka, when they took a break, the children, after the lesson or mid-lesson, they took a break. Then the children, also from demonic fathers, they just said, come, let's play. Playtime. School break. Playtime. Prahlad said, no, why are you wasting your time? What do you mean wasting our time? Children are meant to play. Prahlad said, no. From the early stages of childhood, you should remember Lord Vishnu and serve Lord Vishnu. So not play. So he instructed the children in the school. Of course, that didn't go very well down with the teachers when they returned, because they were all chanting Hare Krishna. All the children. Prahlad was so a leader of all the children. So he got them to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. When the teachers came back, it was a horror, because they're teaching them material activities, demonic acts, cheating, business, all kind of horrible acts. Well, horrible acts like a materialistic person today. They soon learn they should just care about themselves, to make money by all means, licit or illicit. because money means sense gratification. So that means constantly, Prahlad was constantly remembering Lord Vishnu. So here Krishna says, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, that's a very significant statement. Not serving me because I should serve Krishna. Not serving Krishna because if we don't serve Krishna, we may get some negative reactions. Not serving Krishna because we are afraid if we don't serve Krishna, something bad will happen to us. No, none of these. But serving Krishna not out of because we learned the motions of serving Krishna, we learned the motions of how doing arti, how to chant Hare Krishna. Most important. We're taking our chapa and we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And our mind is somewhere else. Why we chant Hare Krishna? Because we're supposed to chant 8, 9, 16 rounds. Therefore we chant. Or perhaps because we want initiation, so we chant 9 rounds. As a duty, which is good as a duty. Very good, because lower than the duty is I chant whenever I feel like. I heard that argument. I chant when I feel like. And if I don't feel good and I don't feel like, what's the point of chanting? Since that chanting is not pure. No, these are not the right arguments, because these are the arguments for the mind. When it feels good, I chant. When it doesn't feel good, I don't feel inspired, I don't chant. That the mind is telling us that. We chant when we feel good. First of all, the chanting of Hare Krishna is not meant that we feel good. It's not meant to make us feel good. We may feel good, we may not feel good. We have to chant out of duty. That's a higher position than the flickering mind. One moment I feel good, next moment I don't feel good. One moment I chant, next moment I don't chant. I don't touch my beats. The mind is not reliable. It's an untrained mind. So, but here Lord Krishna is saying we have to chant with love. Serve Krishna with love. In any kind of service. When we cook for Krishna, and we should cook for Krishna, we shouldn't cook for ourselves. Because if we cook for ourselves, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gītā, those who don't offer their food, they verily eat only sin. What does that mean, eating sin? It means we're getting a karmic reaction. That's like eating sin. Sin will come to us. And a karmic reaction means, of course, bad karma means suffering. So we have to come to the level of love, of loving affection for Krishna. That is the level we should chant. We have to come, not only chanting, preparing food for Krishna to offer with a little plate in front of Krishna. Nama Am Vishnu Padaya Krishna. The mantras, or just Hare Krishna 3 times the Mahamantra for beginners. That will do. But we must offer our food. It's also an acknowledgement. Krishna, you have given me this beautiful foodstuff to nourish me. Thank you for providing that food. It's a thank you. You have to be conscious that that food is coming from Krishna. And it does. However, it is processed in so many ways. Maybe very, very much factory processed food, but all the ingredients ultimately that do come from Krishna. And what to speak of the rain and the sunlight. So we have to thank Krishna. We have to offer to Krishna with love. So if we fulfill these 2 points Krishna is making, constantly being devoted to him and serving him with love in any capacity, we are serving him, but it has to be with love. Love means a feeling. Loving feeling. We know what love is when we have a feeling towards our mother, our father, our family members, our brothers, our sisters. It's not a concept, it's a real feeling. That we feel the love in the heart. So that love we have to feel for Krishna. We have to come to that. That is an advanced stage to serving Krishna with love. But we have to come to that stage. And prior, as we explained, it's out of duty. Duty is better than the mind, one moment yes, one moment no. So I explained to one devotee who was chanting whenever, feeling like, and other times not. I don't have the feeling today. What's the point of chanting without that feeling? And I said, no, you chant as a matter of duty, not because you feel like. These are material feelings, material emotions, all on the material platform. Hare Krishna Prakash. Oh, you're late today. Hare Krishna, welcome. So, these feelings of love, duty. Duty is higher than the capricious mind. Duty to who? Duty to our spiritual master. Our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is telling us, chant 16 rounds. 4, 8, 9. Build it up to 16. That's the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every day. So out of duty, obligation, duty, we chant. That is higher than following the mind's dictate. And higher than duty is love. Having a feeling of love. We don't need, once we love, there's no need for duty anymore. Duty will dwindle away. Love is higher than duty. Let's take an example of a mother. Takes care of a little boy or girl. One could say that's a mother's duty to cook and feed and nourish and clothe and protect her. Yes. But the mother is doing that out of love. She doesn't think that's her duty. The father may think it's my duty to work and provide for the child. But a mother's love for the child, that's the closest example we can give in comparison to loving Krishna. Then what happens? If we constantly devote it and we serving Krishna with love, with that love, then he says, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. We all want to come to Krishna. Welcome, Amrita Radhe Mataji, Hare Krishna. So we all want to achieve Krishna either in Vaikuntha or in Goloka. These are the 2 options. Merging into the Brahman is not an option for devotees. They will never accept. So come to me. We have to become clear where we want to go. We want to go to Vaikuntha? Yes, the spiritual world, no question. or we want to go to Goloka. Goloka Vrindavan Ki Jai. So how can Krishna give the understanding? How can he do that? Because he is situated within the heart. It's very easy for him to inspire us, to give us the intelligence. I give the understanding, we could say, I give the intelligence. How to come to me? The sincere devotee. That's important. Sincere. If someone is not sincere, then that will take a long time. Krishna may not reciprocate in the same way as he reciprocates with someone who is sincere. Buddhi Yoga, intelligence. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada says some very interesting words. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if if he's not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instruction so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So it's not a guarantee if we are attached to a spiritual organization. We may not be able to take fully advantage of association of devotees, or we don't have like-minded devotees to associate with. Very important. Association. Srila Prabhupada says in a well-known conversation with Yamuna, the cook, with our late Yamuna Devi Dasi, who he said, even in those days back, she was on the stage of Bhava Bhakti, which is a very elevated stage. So he had much affection for her, and she had also affection for Srila Prabhupada. She cooked for him and so many things, and she wrote this beautiful big cookbook of Hare Krishna recipes. She learned, Srila Prabhupada taught her how to cook. And Srila Prabhupada instructed her, now you show others how to cook. So Srila Prabhupada said to her, regarding association, because she and her godsister, Dinatarine, they lived outside the temple. They had a little apartment. And devotees criticized them. Oh, you're not living in the temple. How can you be Krishna conscious? In those days, that was very strict. Of course, nowadays, there is more congregation outside than brahmacharis in the temple. That's a very different picture today. But at that time, devotees means living in the temple. So they criticized, you're not living in the temple. You are in Maya. Even further, they said, you're not ISKCON. That's a very sectarian statement. You are not ISKCON. Hare Krishna. Just lived outside of the temple. You're not ISKCON. If you want to be ISKCON, you have to live in the temple. Sectarian. That happens. That happens. So, then they said to Srila Prabhupada, we want to move back into the temple, because they're saying also, we cannot get your mercy if we live outside. Only in the temple, and we're not ISKCON. We don't belong to ISKCON if we live outside. And Srila Prabhupada made a very important statement. ISKCON is wherever you chant Hare Krishna. Wow. What a statement is that? It's not living in the temple or being officially an ISKCON devotee. There's not such a thing as an ISKCON devotee, or a Gaudiya Math devotee, or any other devotee for that matter. Devotee is a devotee. So, Srila Prabhupada said, ISKCON is wherever you chant Hare Krishna. That's a spiritual definition of ISKCON. With that definition, so many people, even they're not living in the temple, there is gone. And then he said something more important for today, for that verse today. They said, but the devotees in the temples, they say, we have no association. Then Srila Prabhupada said something very profound. Association can be of 2 or 200. If 2 are compatible, mentally and otherwise, if 2 are compatible, they can make rapid spiritual progress. If 200 are not compatible, nobody will make progress. How important that is. To our association, we have to find compatible association with devotees who we feel connected with, we feel accepted, we feel, what's the word? We feel respected also, very important. Not association out of formality, that is not enough. If the devotees are not compatible, it's just a formality, then it's very difficult to make spiritual progress. After all, we are instructed to have loving exchanges. Very important. Loving exchanges amongst devotees. What are those loving exchanges? Hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, sharing prasadam amongst devotees. That's a loving exchange. If you love someone, okay, here I've cooked something nicer for you. Please, taste it, respect it, accept it. So, and we have to also, if prasadam is offered, we have to accept. Not, oh, no, I'm not hungry. It's not a question of hungry or not hungry. To accept prasadam is a question of respecting and honoring prasadam. We're not hungry, we just take a tiny small amount, but something we have to take. And another loving exchange of revealing one's mind in confidence. And on the opposite side, giving confidential advice. This is a very, very important thing, opening one's mind. Not having the association amongst the devotees should not always stay on the formality level. That may be at the beginning, but we have to find some compatible association where we can open up. Very important, we can open up our mind without fear. Said devotee, whatever we tell, said devotee, of our anarthas or what else, it's not going around the communities the next day. So we have to find compatible association with someone. If we open up our mind, it stays with that person and it doesn't go any further. Many devotees have been totally devastated. They trusted someone and opened up, and then the next day it was all over the community. That is not compatible association. Compatible association is like-minded people and people we can trust, devotees we can trust. More advanced devotees than ourselves. Then we can make progress. There is some different levels of association. We know that, we spoke about that. To the more advanced devotees, we hear from them and asking questions and hear how to progress further. To those on the same level as we are, we're developing friendship. And those who are on a newcomer devotees, we're giving instructions. So this is all regulated. Giving instructions for the newcomers, helping them in their Krishna consciousness, friendship on the equal level. In fact, friendship is only possible on an equal level. and hearing and associating with more advanced devotees to help us making spiritual advancement. So these loving exchanges are important. Like-minded devotees. And if devotees are not like-minded and just by formality, as Srila Prabhupada says, and if 200 devotees, if they're not compatible, nobody makes progress. That's a damning assessment. But we know that. If we don't have a loving relationship with devotees and a trusting relationship, it's not possible to make progress. So we have to search out such association we can trust and developing a loving relationship. Then Krishna says here, the qualification that Krishna will guide us through the heart. The qualification is that the person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness. Those who constantly devoted, yes, always engage in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion. Render all kinds of services, so many services are there. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna. And that work should be with love. So Krishna consciousness is not just all in the mind. We have to engage actively in some sort of work for Krishna. With love. Of course, chanting Hare Krishna is also some sort of work for Krishna. And there are many other ways of engaging in some sort of work for Krishna. So Krishna is guiding us from within how to make spiritual progress. And here's some very nice definition Srila Prabhupada gives. If someone, because it's much about Buddhi Yoga, if a person knows the goal of life, most people don't know the goal of life. They think the goal of life is just enjoy my senses to the max. That will make me happy. Of course it doesn't. Then they're becoming very, very frustrated. But if someone knows the goal is Krishna, but still he's addicted to the fruits of his activities, that is very easily done. We are all addicted to the fruits of our activities to various degrees, because we have been associating with this material energy for millions of lifetimes. So we are addicted to the fruits. Whatever we do, we want to taste that fruit in the form of money or anything else. Because we think, I have worked so hard, so it belongs to me. Now I can satisfy my senses properly. Well, nothing belongs to us. All the ingredients are supplied by Krishna. So if such a person knows the goal is Krishna, but he's addicted, Srila Prabhupada used that word, addicted, it's an addiction. He's addicted to enjoying the fruits of his activities. Then this is called, such action is called karma yoga. Karma yoga is very different than karma. Ordinary karma means fruitive activities and trying to enjoy the result of our work. That's karma. And we're getting that karma for that. We are fully under the law of karma. Sometimes good karma, sometimes bad karma. So above karma is karma yoga, We know karma doesn't make us happy, so we add in Krishna as an ingredient. And we know that Krishna is a goal, but we're still addicted to fruitive activities. That's called karma yoga. And when one knows the goal is Krishna, but takes pleasure in mental speculation to understand Krishna. There's so many people, they're engaging in mental speculation to understand Krishna. What's the other way of understanding Krishna? Through Shastra, through the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, through surrendering to a bona fide spiritual master, pure devotee. That is completely different. We don't speculate. In fact, speculating is an offense. One of the four rules is no intoxication or speculation. It falls under the same heading. No meat, no fish, no eggs. No, sorry, not intoxication, gambling. No intoxication of any kind, not even tea or coffee. No gambling. And speculation falls under that heading of gambling. It's not only gambling and we speculate, no. We shouldn't speculate. That's all our own mental activities. And those persons who are into speculative knowledge, they enjoy that. It can be very pleasurable for the mind one can be addicted to mental speculation. It feels just so good. It's just all in the mind. But there is no surrender to Krishna. There is no surrender to the pure devotee. Nothing of that sort. So devotees, they don't speculate. They don't engage in joyful mental speculation. We all know, I think, what mental speculation is. We're just making things up in our own mind. We think we are so great. By our own mental constructions, we don't need even any books. My knowledge comes from my mental speculation. So many. And for those persons, generally, that's my personal experience also, they are unable to surrender to Krishna. What to speak of the spiritual master? No, because they know when surrendering to Krishna and surrendering to the pure devotee, it means they have to give up their mental speculations. The knowledge doesn't come through mental speculation. It comes through hearing from the pure devotee, from the spiritual master. There where the knowledge is coming from. Not from our own mind and games in our own mind, no. So those who are addicted, they know Krishna is a goal, but they are addicted to speculating, mental speculation. This is called Jnana Yoga. It appears to be on a higher stage than karma yoga, but actually those engaging in mental speculations are very much stuck in their mental speculation. They cannot accept Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. They have a tendency to impersonalism. In fact, mostly they are impersonalists. They may even succumb to Mayavada philosophy. Very sad. And then that's a big downward spiral because they're denying Krishna. Not only saying the absolute is Brahman, impersonal. No, they're going further. The Mayavadis say, no, Krishna has no hands, no legs, he's dumb, he's deaf, he can't speak. That's an insult for the devotees mainly. Krishna can take any insult. He's not affected. He can, even demons are insulting him and fighting. And of course, eventually, like Shishupal, when enough insults has been hurled at him, then he uses his Sudarshan chakra. But Krishna is more concerned because, let's take an example. You love your children. And someone comes along, or you love your wife, you love your husband. And someone comes along and says, actually, your husband, your wife is an imperson. It's not really a person. It's an impersonal. That's an insult. And if that person goes further, actually, your children, husband, wife, they're dumb, they're blind, they're deaf, they have no hands, they cannot speak, hear, taste anything. Well, that's a big insult. What do we do if someone comes along like that? You get out of my house. Why we feel the insult? Because we love that person. We love that person. Therefore, we feel that's a great insult. And we should feel like that in connection to Krishna. So, if we love Krishna and we hear this kind of statements from someone else, we become very angry. Very angry. There are some statements in the Shastra, very strong statement, that if someone speaks Mayavad philosophy, the Shastra says, kick that person with a shoe in the face. Very strong statement. Devotees are generally non-violent and very lovable personality. When it comes to hearing insults of the beloved Krishna, because they have a loving relationship with Krishna, we have a loving relationship with our husband, our wife, our children. There's some love there. No, one who is a bit advanced in Krishna consciousness, he has that same kind of relationship with Krishna. Krishna is a person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have a personal relationship, and someone insults Krishna like that, they're becoming very upset, very angry. Welcome, Jayanti Bhai. So, that is Jnana Yoga. What else is Krishna saying about that kind of jnani, mental speculators? Bahunam Chanmanamante Jnanavam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many birth and death, that jnani is searching for Krishna. There's no doubt. He's searching. Therefore, he's more dear to Krishna than someone who is just surrendering to him due to want of get rid of his material suffering, or someone is inquisitive. These different people coming to Krishna with different motives, and the best out of them is the one who wants to know about Krishna, but unfortunately that person hasn't surrendered to a spiritual master and hasn't surrendered to Krishna. And sometimes persons think, I only surrender to Krishna directly. But Krishna says, no, I don't want that. If you really love me, if you want to surrender to me, surrender to my pure devotee. Not directly to me. Krishna rejects that. Who are we? We ignore the pure devotee, Krishna's most dear, most servant. We're rejecting the pure devotee, and we want to directly surrender to Krishna. No, Krishna will not have any pleasure in that. He will not allow that even. You want to surrender to me? Surrender to my pure devotee first. So, that jnani, mental speculator, he speculates for many, many lifetimes. And eventually, by some mercy of some devotees, he comes across devotees by some higher arrangement, then he understands that Krishna is everything. I was looking for the absolute truth in so many speculative ways, and now I understand. I was looking for Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada has a very nice purport in one of the Bhagavad Gītā verses where he says, impersonalism may be helpful up to a point, may be helpful to understand the Brahman up to a point. What's that point? Until one meets a pure devotee. Then everything changes. If one is, of course, too proud, then he will never submit to a pure devotee. He will not even recognize a pure devotee. He's too proud in his own mental and intellectual abilities, which are worthless, waste of time. Srila Prabhupada said mental speculation is a waste of time. We have to come to the point of surrendering to the bona fide spiritual master and to Krishna. So after many births and deaths, such a jnani eventually, by good fortune, if he meets a pure devotee or devotees who are leading him towards a pure devotee, then he understands, actually Krishna is everything, not my mental speculation, and then he surrenders to Krishna. And then Lord Krishna is saying, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, such a soul is very rare. Very rare. Because mental speculators keep speculating for many, many lifetimes. So he's a Mahatma. Krishna says that's a Mahatma. Mahatma means one who surrenders to Krishna through a bona fide spiritual master. He is Mahatma. We should never think we can surrender to Krishna by bypassing a bona fide spiritual master. That's not possible. So that's the position of the jnani in Jnana Yoga. So these tendencies getting eventually purified. Still addiction to karma while pursuing Krishna consciousness, and addiction to jnana while pursuing Krishna consciousness, and our Krishna consciousness is less and less. The word is contaminated. These are contaminations of jnana and karma. Pure devotional service is defined. Anya pilasita shunyam jnana karma anavritam. Anukulyena Krishna now Shivam Bhakti. Uttamaha Bhakti. That's pure devotion. Uttama, highest Bhakti. It says that Bhakti which is not contaminated by jnana and karma, that is pure Bhakti. So our goal should be to get rid of every traces of fruitive activities. We want to enjoy the fruits of our work. The fruits of our work are not for us to enjoy. They're for offering them to Krishna first. And Jnana Yoga platform, it's not for us to find the absolute truth by our own material mental speculation. We have to hear from the right source. We have to hear from a bona fide spiritual master. And then Srila Prabhupada explains. And when one knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he's acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, which is a complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. That's the highest platform. As we also know, of course, intelligence can be of many ways. We have our material intelligence to figure out how we can get the most sense gratification possible, trying to be happy in this material world. Everybody is having this material intelligence, how to get more money and this and that. The whole world turns around that. And our spiritual intelligence, that is something very, very different. There's a quote in Srimad Bhagavatam, when the devotee's spiritual body begins to manifest. Oh, here we go. The spiritual body begins to manifest. In due course of time, we developing and manifesting our spiritual body, our Krishna conscious body. Srila Prabhupada says he actually enters into the activities of transcendental life. At present, we have contacted a material body, material mind, and material intelligence. But when we become free from these material conditions, our spiritual body, spiritual mind, and spiritual intelligence become manifest. So just by purification, we're getting free from the material conditions, free from our hankering after fruitive activities or mental speculation. We're getting rid of them more and more and more. And in due course of time, our spiritual body, spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence become manifest. So basically we purifying our material mind and focus the mind on Krishna, our spiritual intelligence by focusing on Krishna is developing and become manifest. In that transcendental state, the devotee attains all the benefits of karma, jnana, and yoga. Although he never engages in fruitive activities or empiric speculation to attain mystic powers, like the yogis, automatically mystic powers appear in his service. Likewise, a devotee does not want any kind of material opulence, but such opulence appears before him automatically. He does not endeavor for it. Because of his devotional service, he automatically becomes Brahma Buddha, as stated in Bhagavad Gītā. We know that verse. Brahma Buddha Prasanatma. But there's another verse. Mam chayo vyapicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatita yaitan Brahma Bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So, spiritual intelligence. Another quote. One who is sufficiently intelligent immediately attains the stage of renunciation of so-called society, family, and love, as well as other things. And another quote about spiritual intelligence from Srimad Bhagavatam. If one takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, he can be elevated to the highest perfection. Even so, he is low-born. One acquires lower birth when one's spiritual intelligence is reduced. Oh, then lower birth will result. One more. The Supreme Master of the Goddess of Fortune herself, it's also from Srimad Bhagavatam, obviously does not have to beg for food, as pointed out here by the Brahmanas, who are finally manifesting real spiritual intelligence. That is from Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastime of the sakas begging food from the ritualistic brahmanas. I think you all know this story, this pastime. They said, Krishna, we are in the forest, we are far away from home, but we have become hungry. Then Krishna says, okay, go, nearby are some ritualistic brahmanas. Ritualistic brahmanas means they're just doing the ritual. They haven't really developed any love for Krishna. So he sends them back some food from them. They're doing a yakya. In a yakya, there's always food available. Most of the sakas came to the brahmanas. The brahmanas didn't even speak with them. They just carried on the yakya, swaha. And the sakas knew very well. They were very knowledgeable. They knew at this stage of the yajna, one can take some purified foodstuff, can be distributed. But the brahmanas, they thought these are just little boys. They said, we are coming on behalf of Krishna and Balaram. But nothing. The brahmanas didn't understand who is Krishna and Balaram. Since they returned to Krishna, no, we were not successful. First of all, Krishna says one cannot, when one is begging, one cannot always be successful. Anyone who is begging or distributing books, he knows there will be rejections also. Then he said, go to the wives of these brahmanas, they're my great devotees. And then they went to the wives, and the wives, they were totally overwhelmed. What? Krishna and Balaram in the forest. And that is the object of our meditation. Oh, immediately they packed everything together, everything eatable, whatever they had in the house, and they went with the sakas to the forest to see and meet Krishna and Balaram. How fortunate they have been. They have been not ritualistic wives of the brahmanas. They have been much, much superior to the ritualistic husbands who couldn't understand. Offering yagyas and they don't understand who is a yagyeshvara, who is the beneficiary of the yagya, ultimate Krishna. So that is. Then afterwards, these brahmanas, they could understand by Krishna's mercy and the intelligence of their wives, they could understand. Finally, they're manifesting real spiritual intelligence. So that is needed. Okay, at this point, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Just one comment regarding the point that you know, when someone starts seeking the ultimate goal of life, either through jnana or what is that? Jnana and karma.
Yeah.
So basically, I was just thinking that I read one pastime of Radhanath Swami Maharaj uh, that when he was a young boy, his parents went to some restaurant and there he saw one of his classmates serving as a waiter. So he was very, very disturbed. He started crying and he left the restaurant with his grandfather because inherently he had that compassion, you can call it, or that feeling that, I should not feel, I don't want to feel superior to others, especially my own classmate. Um, yeah, so why I'm saying this is, so basically what happens is, to become a bhakti yogi, you need this feeling of what you call compassion, or what in our parlance is called paradukh dukhi concept, wherein you want to please Krishna, right? Then that's when you become a bhakti yogi. So I feel that those who have this paradukh dukhi element, or what do you call, realization in their heart, it's easier for them to take up to bhakti yoga rather than karma yoga or gyan yoga. What are your comments on that?
Thank you. Beautiful, huh? Very important. Paradukha, meaning to feel for the suffering of others. Compassion. Devotees are not too much concerned about their own suffering, because that comes and goes, whatever. And even if there's suffering, they take it as Krishna's mercy also. Krishna wants to teach me something. And then they turn it around, a bad situation in a good situation, because it has become a learning situation, how to surrender more and more to Krishna. So, but when it comes to others, devotees feel, not only know in the head, they feel it in their hearts. They feel the suffering of others, and they want to do something. And they're trying their very best to help others. Not only, of course, ultimately to elevate them to the spiritual platform. Why the Lord is taking so much trouble of preaching Krishna consciousness? Why so much trouble? They could be just sitting at home and chanting Hare Krishna all day long. We can sit at home peacefully, just for ourselves, and chant Hare Krishna. But why devotees engage in activities to help others? Because they're feeling the suffering of others. They want to bring others closer to Krishna. They don't care about their closeness to Krishna, really. They are full of compassion. It's like Radharani. She wants the devotees coming closer to her Prananath, to her Lord. So she makes arrangements, introducing devotees to Krishna. And if Radharani introduces a devotee to Krishna, then Krishna will accept. Oh yes, Radharani introduced you. So, okay, you are very dear to me because Radharani introduced you. So this compassion has to grow in our hearts. It won't be there at the beginning. We don't need to kidding us. It won't be. The only compassion at the beginning is compassion for ourselves. We feel so much compassion. Oh, I'm suffering. This happened to me and that happened. We are completely self-centered. We have loads of compassion for ourselves, but no compassion for everybody else. Too bad. That's their problem. That's their karma even. We can't even be so hard-hearted of someone is suffering. Well, it's your karma. Well, it is your karma, but saying it in such a hard-hearted way, that doesn't help anyone. In fact, that pushes them away a million miles. But the devotee is also compassionate, not only feeling compassionate and trying to elevate others to the level of Krishna consciousness, he also, like our Vaishana Kishori Mataji, she was compassionate. A bumblebee was trapped in her house, and other people wouldn't even care. Get out of my way. Take something and even kills them or whatever. A bumblebee in my house. She felt compassion for the bumblebee. So she tried to take her out, and on the way out, she stumbled over the step on her balcony and fell, and got hurt quite a bit, bruised on her shoulder and so on. So she's practicing compassion for a bumblebee. And the Bodhisattva, everybody has many stories, even compassion. The other day in the garden, there is a barrel of water. And there is some comfrey with flowering, and the bumblebees love the comfrey. They're collecting honey. And there was a bumblebee in the water, drowning. They cannot, once they fall in the water, they can't get out. They will actually drown. Because of the wings are wet, they can't fly. She was just rowing with her little legs. So immediately, oh, let me get something, let me get her out. I got her out in the dry. What happened to her then, I don't know, but that is obligatory. We have to help every living entity in trouble. This bumblebee was in trouble. So many ways. So she's para-dukkha-dukhi, she's compassion. We have to develop this compassion. And we can only develop this compassion if we really understand the position of the living entity. There is Vishnumurti, super soul in everyone's heart. And if we show compassion for others, Krishna will be very pleased. Because they're all his children. No less, no more. They're all his children. So thank you for that nice comment. Anything else? Any question? Vijay, what about you?
Just going back to when you mentioned Krishna's situated within the heart. And so I wanted to maybe understand when Krishna confers his Yogamaya energy, does that come from within the heart or is it from somewhere else?
So Yogamaya energy comes from Krishna. It's his special internal energy, which he employs in Goloka, for instance. We are more really affected not by the Yoga Maya, we are affected by the Mahamaya, the material illusion. The Yoga Maya, that's a spiritual illusion, Krishna's energy. But we are really concerned and we are covered by the Mahamaya.
Yeah, but you can still be in the mode of goodness, which is the Sattva Guna, which is the Maya energy. So you can still be situated in the mode of goodness.
Yes, first of all, it needs to be really, really understood. There is no pure goodness in this material world. It's always contaminated with passion and ignorance. Sattva Guna is not pure in this material world. We will not be able to find it. And it changes. There's a little bit more passion mixed in, and then there's some ignorance mixed in, some tamagun, and it constantly changes also. So to find pure goodness, that's called Shuddha Sattva. That is on the other side of the Viraja river. That's only found in the spiritual realm. There is pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha, pure. Yes?
So that means in our present condition, for example, our senses, mind and intellect are all material.
To various degrees.
Yeah. And so that's why we can't see Krishna or hear Krishna or even know him that well. It's because our senses are all at present stage material.
Yes, how is it possible? With material, limited, covered senses, how is it possible to perceive the spiritual? It's not possible. With our material eyes, we cannot see Krishna, or hear, or touch. We have to develop a spiritual body. We have to get purified, as in the quote earlier on said, our spiritual body manifests more and more. Spiritual body means, of course, purified senses. Then we have spiritual intelligence, a spiritual mind. It's easy to understand. When we are absorbed in kirtan, when we are absorbed in reading about Krishna, then that is a state of our spiritual mind. Right? It's spiritual because connected with Krishna. But how long does that last? And after an hour hearing about Krishna, then again the material mind takes over. But by practice of bhakti yoga, we're training the mind and the intelligence. More and more they become purified, and eventually, even living in this material body, our senses are spiritualized. We have a spiritual vision in everything we experience and see. And if that spiritual vision develops to the point of prema, of love for Krishna, then it becomes almost complete. And then once we leave this body with such a highly developed consciousness, pure devotion, that is the other word for it, pure devotion. Bhakti, prema bhakti, pure devotional service. Once we have that is manifest in this life, then once we leave this body, we are transferred to the spiritual world immediately. We're not taking another birth. So it's important. We have to come to the stage of pure devotional service. The senses have to become so purified there is not a speck of karma or mental speculation left. Theoretically, we understand that, but by engagement and chanting and other engagement in Krishna consciousness in due course of time, then we come to that stage where the senses are getting more and more purified. Even on the stage of Bhava Bhakti, which is a highly elevated stage of exchanging spiritual emotions with Krishna, even on that stage there are still some remnants, some material contaminations there. But very little, and perhaps only occasionally. Once we grow further and come to the stage of prema bhakti, that is then all pure. All contamination is gone. That should be our goal. All contamination gone. No more material, no more modes of material nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance, gone. That's a liberated stage, Brahma Buddha platform. And then we can engage in pure devotional service with the Lord. Oh, how much Krishna is enjoying that. Krishna is not enjoying that much when someone worships him in awe and reverence. You are my Lord and Master. And yeah, of course, Krishna accepts that. But if someone is in love with Krishna, not in fear, in love with Krishna, either in friendship or parental mood or in conjugal mood, in love with Krishna, really in love with Krishna, then Krishna is enjoying that. Oh, very much. That's like himself. Krishna has his associates. Okay, then we become an associate of Krishna. If in Sakyaras we become, and we engage like cowherd boys, like Sakas. That can all be developed, even within this material world. That's our spiritual ideal, whichever bhava, whichever rasa we are aiming for. And then, after leaving this body, that same Baba has already prepared our spiritual body. So immediately we engaging directly with Krishna as friends, as in a parental mood or in a mood as lover. So we continue that. Anything else?
No, that was nicely explained. I kind of
Yes.
yeah. This Shuddha Sattva is the divine mode. It inhabits
Yes.
on
It's
the
a,
other side of
it's a
So
completely pure mode of goodness.
and
Pure.
there's no speck of any kind of material contamination at all. It's
No.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Amrita Radhe Mataji, anything?
No, Prabhu, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So we stop here for tonight. Thank you so much. See you on Saturday. Where's Rituan?
He's not at home right now, Prabhu.
Oh, he's working so hard. Say my Haribol to him.
Dear Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
How is Tejas and Padma?
Oh, they're all very active, running around the house.
They're acting like little children. They should, and they should, of course. It's a beautiful
Yes.
time in one's life, acting carefree like little children. We look back at our lives, that was a beautiful time. Carefree, acting like little children. But then we are disciplined. Okay, now you have to go to school. And if we present it nicely, then if children love their learning, it's not something I have to learn and I cannot play. No, it's something I want to learn. And that is very beautiful.
True.
Okay.
True, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare
You know
Krishna.
the story? Srila Prabhupada, he didn't want to go to school. When it came, he wanted to play, like children want to play. And his father was very lenient. No, it's okay. His mother was, how will he get an education? So eventually they had to get a servant because Srila Prabhupada, he was hiding under the table and this and that. He just trying to avoid to go to school. And then they engaged a servant and he forced him. He took him to school. Hare Krishna. See you Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.